It's my pleasure to present the 2020 Canadian Jewish Literary Awards Best Book in the category of Jewish Thought and Culture to Tanhum Yoreh for his book Waste Not, a Jewish Environmental Ethic. Tanhum is an assistant professor at the University of Toronto's School for the Environment. He's published several journal articles and book chapters on religion and the environment, faith-based ethics, consumption and waste. And Waste Not is his first monograph. It was published by the State University of New York Press this past summer. Tanhum, your work offers a well-studied and careful analysis of the Jewish prohibition against wastefulness and destruction across an impressive range of contexts and interpretive traditions, from the Hebrew Bible through rabbinic, medieval, and contemporary Jewish environmental commentaries. Your methodology is an innovative blend of traditional Jewish hermeneutics, the academic study of religion, ethics, ecological social theory, and together the jury agreed that the book achieved nothing short of an important and of course very timely meditation on a subject deserving of the world's attention over. We hope that the environmental ethic you offer in this book is widely read and that it grounds Jewish thinking and behavior and inspires further dialogue among differing faith communities as well towards a global environmental ethic that is articulated in myriad ways for myriad peoples around the one globe that we share for the years ahead. Congratulations, Professor Yoreh.
Hello. I'd just like to express my deep gratitude to the jury and to the donors of the Canadian Jewish Literary Awards. I'm deeply honored to have been awarded this prize for my book, Waste Not. The book itself was a labor of love. I started writing it as part of my doctoral studies at York University way back in 2007. I guess it wasn't then conceived of as a book, but it has become one since then. The book came into being through what might be described as sort of an intellectual puzzle for me. I consider myself to be a Jewish environmentalist, and I had come from the field of the social sciences, had a degree in environmental planning, and I was seeing how certain communities were putting into practice the concept of Bal Tashchit, the Jewish prohibition against wastefulness. And I was sort of wondering, how is it that the communities that take the halacha, the Jewish law, seriously, aren't actually practicing this prohibition as a way, in a way an environmentalist would imagine? And that sort of got me thinking, and got me thinking long and hard enough to pull off a doctoral dissertation on it, and eventually manifested itself in the book that's now been awarded. The book itself starts with that premise. You know, we have the environmental community who deals with faith-based literature, saying, you know, either this concept of waste not is a strong environmental ethic, or it's one that doesn't really hold its weight and can't really be used. So this difference in opinion sort of even stoked the fires of interest. And what I did was use a methodology of tradition histories, of intellectual history, and looked at how this concept came into being, how it evolved over the course of history. Who were the thinkers that ultimately made their mark on the concept? And throughout that process, I think the most interesting and compelling thing, and this is not something that I had sought out to discover, but when you're digging through the history of an idea, some surprising things come to light. And the most surprising thing for me was that in its earliest stages of conceptualization, the prohibition against wastefulness was actually intricately tied into the prohibition against self-harm. And the idea was that just like you're not allowed to harm yourself, so too are you not allowed to harm material things And it went from the flip side too, just as you're not allowed to harm material things and destroy them, so too are you not allowed to engage in self-harm. Now, this was a really surprising revelation because it was so in tune with what we see today in mainstream environmentalism, where harming the environment is commensurate to harming yourself. And that is the basis of an ethic that we can use for protecting the environment and living in harmony with other people and the rest of the non-human world. It's my hope that that not only this method that I use in terms of analyzing this concept is applied to a much greater extent on common concepts in faith-based environmental in the field of faith-based environmentalism. The other thing I would say is that I'm a proponent of big tent environmentalism. I think, like the Canadian environmentalist Graham Saul says, there are many different ways, different paths to the environment, and sometimes it's important to find a common one that unites us all. But it's also important to create the paths that will be unique for the people that will follow them. And if there's one that's the more such paths that we can create, the more access people have to living in a world that is able to be in harmony with the environment. So I hope that you'll take a look at the book, and I'd like to again express my deep gratitude to the jury and to the donors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tanhum. I have a couple of questions for you. First, I was wondering, thinking about the growing amount of scholarship in Jewish studies in actually a pretty big range of academic fields about the study of animals and people and animals in the tradition and sort of animality and Jewishness and Judaism. I'm wondering if you think this is like well incorporated into the book, or this would be another study, an additional study about animals, environment, and Jewish ethics, or how you see animals kind of working into this material.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't really focus on animals in the book. Obviously, they play a major role in human sustainability, and our interaction with the animal world is essential to reconfigure if we're going to achieve a sustainable world for everyone, and a just one too, one that cares for animals in an ethical manner. There are some examples in the book that deal with animals, the act of slaughter of animals, and a little bit with food as well. Though these are areas that could certainly be expanded on, and I know that that food waste is currently a major topic in environmental issues. The EPA in the United States did this amazing made an amazing declaration that they were going to try to reduce the U.S. food waste by 50%, and what they were doing is they were going to launch this program. I think it's sort of since been put on ice for the time being, but they were going to launch this program through faith-based institutions as a major ally promoting the initiative. So the fact that these ideas are tied in, both environmentalism, food waste, ethical treatment of animals, and all through a faith-based perspective, means that the more wisdom that comes to light in the area of faith-based environmentalism, the greater the amount of action that's going to be able to take place.
On that note, I'm curious if you've received feedback from or found interlocutors in scholars or religious leaders who are also interested in grounding environmentalism in their own distinct religious traditions, from other religious traditions, of course. And if you can share something about what those sorts of dialogues have looked like and what's come of that?
That's something that's on the agenda, I would say. I've had the opportunity to talk to many faith leaders and Jewish environmental activists, but not in the context of this book, but rather in academic studies of Jewish environmentalism to see what motivates people to come to the table and engage in Jewish environmentalism, and environmentalism from a specifically Jewish lens.
And lastly, how hard do you think it will be to change Jews or Judaism's attitude towards environmental issues? And I guess relatedly, how much do you think that these changes will be influenced by forces inside the religious community's leadership versus changes that will just be wrought by planetary change itself?
I think that it's going to be a combination of many different factors. Some within the wider Jewish communities of the world come to environmentalism a lot more naturally than others. Sometimes these communities don't necessarily need a push, but they're already there, and that's an amazing thing. Others need more hand-holding to reach what's essential for all communities today, and it's certainly my hope that that this book and other projects will assist people in reaching that place.
Well, I certainly share it, and I know that the rest of the jury does as well, which is why we've been very pleased to award your book this prize. Congratulations again, Tanhum, and we look forward to reading more from you in the future.
Thank you so much.